6 o'clock. Call this meeting to order. Can I get a motion for the minutes? Approve the minutes?
I'll move that we approve the minutes of September 11th.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
How about warrants 7, 7P, and conservation 3?
I'll make a motion to approve bills for payment, warrants 7, 7P, and conservation number 3.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Recognition of visitors. You guys like to come up straight up to the table?
Sure.
Thank you.
Let's go right around the table first to introduce ourselves. I'm Lewis White.
Geraldine Wilson.
I'll move the band.
Terry Chapman.
Maria Gordon.
Nice to meet you, I'm Christy Beatty.
You've seen them, I think I'll pass this one around. So my name is Alex Beck. I'm the Workforce and Education Program Manager with the Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation. We're here tonight really to give our update, our annual update, and touch base about our upcoming town meeting day. You've all received our letter, the letter from us. We're petitioning, so we are familiar with that process. And I thought I'd just give an overview of some of the bigger picture stuff that our organization does. I think most of you are familiar with us. And then go into some specifics about specifically the workforce and education programs that we have, because those are the programs that engage the most amount of community members throughout the county, but especially here in Dummerston. So in your packet, you'll have a copy of that letter. This is really a broad overview of all the programs we run. You'll see a brochure for the Micro Entrepreneur Loan Program. And small businesses can work with folks in our office to access small loans. It's usually for small businesses who either have existing loans with banks or can't get a traditional loan for whatever reason. Hermit Thrush is a good example of a business that used this program in Dummerston, and an example of success. Again, it's the tools that we have to help smaller businesses grow and get over that first hump so that they can expand and move. In some places, they move from High Street, but also our incubation program, where we lease space at the Cotton-owned Book Press to help businesses grow. Vermont Photonics is also a great example of a Dummerston company that started as an incubation company, and once they were able to grow, they leave our place, which is always a success story for us, and start business and add jobs in other communities. Please, if you want more of these, we'd be happy to drop more of these off. This is run by R.T. Brown, who some of you may know. His information's in here as well. So anyone who's interested in starting a small business or really scaling up their small business. We have our Southern Vermont Young Professionals group, which is a social and professional development group for folks between the ages of 22 and 45 roughly. And that's really just a support system for either folks who are new to the community or are coming back after having been away for a long time. Everything from where do I grab a drink to where do I find childcare, where do I find housing. As more folks are, especially in the age group and that engages in this program, we really are transitioning from where do I find a drink to housing and childcare conversations. So it's been really great seeing how this group has grown to engage Wyndham Windsor Housing Trust so that they, young professionals can get a free home buyer class and those kinds of resources. So that program is going well. And we also are a part of a regional marketing campaign that really is trying to tap into some of the latent tourism marketing that's going on. It's really saying it's not just a fun place to be, it's a great place to live. We have jobs here, we have communities who are looking for people to fill jobs and other roles. So that is that program as well. Also included in here is a brochure about our workforce programming, and that is really one of the highlights of what we're really focusing on. This packet will show, it's all about population change in the region. You'll see on this page, really quickly, a map of how many folks come into Dummerston every day to work and how many folks leave to work. And so it's about 750 folks leave the town of Dummerston for their jobs, and about 150 people come into the town of Dummerston for their work. And this is similar across most communities surrounding Brattleboro and the area. And so what this also really shows is that our role as workforce people is to make sure that everyone's students have access to the opportunities in any community they would want to work in, whether it's a business here in Dummerston or one in Brattleboro or Bellows Falls or another more populated area. So there's a lot of other information around demographics in here. I don't think it would come as a surprise to most of you that we're getting a little older and fewer people slowly, but any questions about this big stuff in general?
Well, I just wanted to say that having been on the select board for 5 years now, I've seen a big change in the information that you're bringing to us. So I just wanted to acknowledge a certain responsiveness on the part of BDCC of when you come to the Dummerston Select Board, you're really giving us information about Dummerston, which is awesome. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I also want to say that in terms of the young professionals, we hear a lot of information about the state getting older and young people leaving, and certainly our young people who grow up here, in some ways we want them to leave and go, understand the world better, but we want them to come back, and we want those people who leave other places to be able to come here. And as a small business owner myself in the region, I know how just having one young person at the in the business doesn't really do it. You really need a small group of people. So I really appreciate that that magnet that you guys are trying to create. So
Yeah, I think we sometimes joke that it can also serve as a white glove service, where if you have a young professional employee and they've just moved to take an internship or from somewhere, you can reach out to us or encourage them to reach out to us. It's not just do they find us on Facebook or not. It can very much be a tool that you use to reach out if you don't have another young person on staff yet. So that's something that they're always happy to do, but thank you. Yeah.
That kind of segues into our PC
Sure.
program, yeah?
Yeah, so besides regional stuff, again, this is just to leave behind, this is our regional career fair that happens every year. The BDCC is the lead organizer of it, but we work closely with Department of Labor and Creative Workforce Solutions. It's really for any and all job seekers, but mostly, entry level, a great place for a lot of larger employers to fill those needs with regards to entry level skill sets. So a lot of organizations that are looking for bachelor's or master's level employees. We have other programs that can help attract or find those folks. This is really a great place for students and college students and high school students and other folks in the community who are looking to transition careers. Now I will segue to Christy, who is responsible for making sure the right people are seeing this.
Yeah, so hi. I've been working for the BDCC now for about a year. I'm the Pipelines and Pathways Program Coordinator. So what I do is I go into the 4 Windham County high schools to not only learn about what kinds of career programming is already provided, but where the gaps are, so that we can, as a group, fill those gaps by providing programming directly to students, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, or by involving other youth career services within the community to kind of support that. So over the course of last year, I did a lot of information gathering within the schools. So I met with the guidance counselors, educators, principals, the students, the parents, and just kind of listened to what they had to say about where they want to see career education go in this community. And what was great is that there's just such a tremendous response and such an openness to having programs grow. So there are a lot of great things that are currently happening within the high schools, but there are a lot of opportunity for growth as well. So some of the things that we're going to do next year to provide, and this has already happened in the past through the Fast Track to Success program that we're now sort of jettisoning that title just to make it more simple. So under the Pipelines and Pathways program, we'll be providing things like mock interviews, work site tours, Career Expo. Will be paying for transportation for these activities if the schools identify that that's something they're interested in. I just spent quite a bit of time teaching some professionalism classes in the past few weeks, and that is on, the simple things from, being punctual and showing up dressed appropriately to understanding how to communicate through body language and professional language as well. So what else are we doing? We're doing interview prep, making sure that every student has a resume by the time they graduate, which is something that doesn't always happen, and it's incredibly important. And then one of the things that we're really trying to do is we have relationships with area businesses that are looking for employees, and they need employees and our students need opportunity, and they're sort of like trains passing in the night. And it's not necessary, so we want to make those connections. And we're doing Manufacturing Month in October, which is National Manufacturing Month, and we're already bringing students on tours to, all sorts of places.
Yeah.
Full Flex, Commonwealth Dairy, GS Precision, help me out here.
Omega.
Omega,
Yeah.
Long Falls Paper.
Yeah, CNS is later, so
Yeah.
we're planning, we're kind of riffing off of the Manufacturing Month theme, and we will do healthcare and run a healthcare month. We'll do a farm and forest probably as well. And so it's, we take a bunch of different organizations. CNS, shipping and logistics is actually a decent business industry in terms of this area. There's Patriot Trucking a little bit farther north, and so in terms of jobs, those do exist here, and CNS especially is a place where folks started as a selector and have worked their way into the back office, into finance roles and HR roles, and so those local companies that really provide upward mobility for students is what we're focusing on.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people just aren't aware of what's out there, and there is a lot of opportunity within this town. And like you said, we want to focus on every single kid, so the college-bound kids as well. But for them to know that, if they're interested in something like, if they're interested in science and they go and get their bachelor's degree, they can come back and work at a place like Omega Optical. There is opportunity here, so. I think it's kind of an exciting time.
Photonics. It's really hard to convince teachers, high schools, about the brewing. They're not really keen to get their high school students into breweries, but actually the yogurt and food manufacturing is something we can expose students to, and so that's what's really unique about our region compared to other parts of the state. CNC machining is much more popular in Bennington County. But in Windham County, we have food manufacturing. So the kind of education students need to be good at this include understanding where your food comes from and how to handle it safely. You can't be caught picking your nose if you're on the manufacturing line of food production. And so it's all of those little things about what makes our community unique and helping prepare students to be ready for that. and you can, if you have students or know of students who are interested, or businesses who are interested in either, again, a college intern to a high school co-op student, you can reach out to Christy or myself. We are open to working with really everyone. We have had the Stone Trust do a handful of architecture activities with students as well. So it's, even though they're not hiring folks there, it's great to get them to teach what they know most about. And so that's another great example of you don't need to be hiring to give back to the students.
And I think having those enthusiastic employees really gets kids excited about things that they hadn't maybe ever thought about doing. So,
Any questions about the school programming? Right. I'm hoping I can leave these two things behind. Is there an appropriate place you think they could be hung for the career fair? Maybe the flyer and not the long sign?
We'll ask Lori. You can leave both of them. and
Okay.
we'll see if Lori
Yeah, it's
says
not
it.
really up to us, that's
Okay.
town clerk
Up to Lori.
Yeah,
Great.
we'll leave a little note with them. Great.
Well, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for all the information,
Yeah, thanks for
thank you.
coming.
thanks for having us. I think now we just made your meeting longer.
Sorry.
That's all right.
We'll make it up when we get to the liquor board.
Yes, Carolyn.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Ladies, like to
Thanks,
come up to the
take care.
table, please. Let us go around the table one more time, because we'll, is there something again? I'm Louis White.
Geraldine Wilson.
Terry Chapman.
Maria Glayback.
Linda Snarsky.
Linda Finlayson.
Nice to meet you guys. All right, so you guys are on Homestead Drive, and you asked us to give you a list of all the private drives that we do, and that was a pretty easy list. There is none that all the roads, all the plowing that we do and the maintenance we do are actually town roads. And some of them may not seem like they're town roads, because some of them do only go to one house, but they are town roads, and they have been town roads for years and years.
So that's part of my question is, our road's been there for 40 years and we weren't given the choice of having it be a town road. We were told it had to be a private road and that it wouldn't be plowed, and I understand that, but I have become aware of many roads that don't go anywhere. Like my road doesn't go anywhere, there's 3 houses on it. Like you said, they're plowing roads that only have 1 house on it. So to me, like when they do Norris Hollow Road and they gate it and it doesn't go anywhere, or when they, at the bottom of Canoe Brook Road where they do Eliza and Cliff's Road, it doesn't go anywhere anymore. It used to go through to Putney.
It still goes through. It still goes through. We just don't maintain that one
Yeah,
through
but
it.
it doesn't really go through if you've walked up there, because there are signs, no trespassing, and there are things in the road.
Oh, I drive that road quite often. Canoe Brook Road to come out.
No, not Canoe Brook. It's at the bottom of the hill when you go left.
Oh, okay.
It used to go
Yeah,
to
Green Hill
Putney.
Road. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And
Oh.
that gets plowed and the culverts get fixed.
Right.
And it seems like I pay the same taxes that they do, but I haven't added burden because my road is not acceptable as a town road.
Right. And because if your road became a town road, I'll guarantee you right now, the next person that would be on that list is my road, because I've got 3 houses on my road and it's not. We've got houses.
Well, then take theirs off.
We went through that process probably 10 years ago, and it's harder to take it off than put it on. That's for sure. And I hear your frustration.
I'm not frustrated.
and I hear-
I'm just beleaguered, and I feel like I'm one of the unpopular kids that doesn't get to sit at the table.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't feel that way, because that has nothing to, I mean, we have roads right now where people have asked us to take over, and there's over 8 houses on those, and it's just.
And I think they should be.
And I'm just down on the end of Canoe Brook Road, we've had 2 people request that we plow an extra 100 yards to get to this camp that's down there. Everybody, a couple people are trying to buy. And we've sent them the letter saying that it's a town road. If you, we're not adding any new roads. If you'd like to hire somebody to plow that, we have no problem with you plowing the town road out to the camp.
But see, that's an added expense. My husband plowed for 40 years.
Yep,
So we've paid for that and paid for that. And my neighbors have had their road plowed for them and their culvert fixed and things like that. And they pay the same taxes. I just don't think it's right.
Right.
I mean, right is right. You can argue any way you want to,
Right.
but it's not even-handed. It's not being even-handed with your town citizens.
Well,
So Louis, do we have any specific criteria for this kind of situation of what would allow someone to petition for or?
First thing is there are criterias for having a proper road. There's one road in town that I know that they've asked to have theirs become a road. There's 8 houses on it. There's just no way that it's a town road because there's certain widths you have to have your road.
Right,
and,
that's the
but
criteria.
but we're not looking to, because then you're talking about adding employees. You're starting to become, because like I said, if you do it for one person, everybody's going to be asking for the same thing.
Right.
We tried to get rid of some of these roads
Well,
that
don't you
go
think
to nowhere.
40
But
years should count for something? I mean,
I've
40
been online for 55 years and
Huh?
it's not gonna be done, and I get up and I plow it, and now I snow blow it. I stop plowing and I snow blow it. It takes me longer, but it's just part of what we do. I mean, I've had it hired out before. It's, like I said, I've been there for 55 years and it's still 3 houses, same 3 houses, and it was never a town road. The road below me was a through road. It used to be old Route 5. Now they've shut it off. There's 3 houses on that same road, and that gets paved and that gets plowed. And I always tell the road crew, I say, hey, you're plowing theirs, plow mine. There's 3 houses, 3 houses. But I know it's not gonna happen. I just tell them to give them a hard time because
Well, I don't know that it's not gonna happen. I'm hoping to prevail upon the best wishes of my fellow citizens.
I honestly, myself personally, and I'll let the rest of you guys speak in a second, but I don't think it's gonna, it would be such a expense that we wouldn't be able to do it.
But why do you keep people on? They should have to pay, they should have the same burden I have, tax-wise.
They're on a town road,
They're on an outdated town road. It's not right to do them and not me. I'm just saying what's right and wrong. And for 40 years we've done it. And when we moved there, we were not given the choice.
right, because it wasn't a town road.
So
It
I
was
know.
off a town road.
I know we have different classes of roads in the town and that makes a difference as to how we maintain them. You know, the class 4, 3, 2, you know, and are we saying, Louis, that we would, let me ask it this way, is there any case where a road would be become a town road and plowed that is not currently plowed?
At this time, I think it's even in the town plan that we're not looking to add any new roads to the town.
Well, I
That's
know we're
in the-
not looking, but
So-
that's different than residents coming
That's
to
just somebody
us.
making a rule. And I'm saying that that's not a good rule for me. After living here for 40 years and doing my share, paying my taxes on time, et cetera,
Well, I could say
maintaining a truck and,
I live on 3, like Lewis, 3 homes,
yeah,
it's 1920s,
yeah,
and we've maintained it. It's not a town road.
yeah. Well,
So, you know,
I'm not saying that You should, but I'm saying that it's not even-handed. It's not even. My neighbors get plowed, Norris Hollow gets plowed, Esther Fox Road gets plowed. I thought that was a private road. She gets plowed. I mean, she's not there anymore, but that road's been plowed. There's other roads that I know of. that-
Oh, I can name a lot of the roads that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I just don't think I think they're paying the same taxes I am. So give me a tax break then if I have to pay for the plowing. Do something to make it more even.
So I live on Nurse Hollow Road, on the south end of it,
Yeah?
and a lot of times I plow the road, even though it is a town road. And the town truck comes through and sometimes they plow it, sometimes I plow it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I plow the
You're
corner,
a better
sometimes
man
they...
than I am going to be.
So it's...
That doesn't make it okay for me to
I mean, I can-
left high and dry.
No, it
You
doesn't.
have equipment.
Yeah.
You have people that work for you that plow. I mean, that's a different
Could make or
situation.
break us in whether we can stay in our homes or whether we have to leave. You know, she's been there 30 years. I'm
40.
40 and I've been there 30 years. And do I have to leave my home because we can't take care of the road anymore?
Well,
We
there
don't have
are,
any husbands to do it.
but there are quite a few, and they're local people that do that do the plowing, that do the road upkeeps.
We know, we've hired your son,
Mhm.
but it's a financial burden to us to do it. We can't, I mean, personally, we've done it, my husband and I, for 40 years, with some help for gas money, but basically us. And, you know, I mean, what's right? What's right about this?
So there's 3 homes, so what about the third resident? Or do you split the cost, or how do
We've
you?
never split the cost. My husband wouldn't ask for any money. Just whatever they donated, which nowhere near covered the cost of the truck and the plow and all that, fuel and whatever. I mean, it's just he didn't want to argue with anybody, and he just did it.
I mean, are there any examples of other towns where at a certain point they've reassessed, what's being plowed and what's not, given changes that happen over decades?
Well, I guess I couldn't come up with something, but I guess what I'm saying is, what are you talking about? About doing three house driveways?
No,
I mean,
Just the right of way.
well, I'm not saying that we need to respond to a single resident, but if there's a bigger issue of fairness and we're all paying taxes and the select board's main job is the roads in this town, that's our main purpose as a select board, is to manage the town roads in a way that's fair and equitable. It seems like it's not unthinkable to look at it. I wouldn't in one instance say yes or no to an individual. I wouldn't make a change for an individual, but I would stand back as a select board and say, okay, so what do we think about this? And I would ask Lee, well, how many roads are you plowing where it seems like you shouldn't be plowing them? And how many roads does it seem like, well, gosh, they've come up in the world and are better. So it's like reassessing properties. We're at a place right now where we're doing a big reassessment of properties because it's not
I'm sure
fair.
the taxes
It's
will go
not
up.
the prices that
well, I think, excuse me, but I think you'd be better off trying to get the roads, going back again, trying to get the roads that are being plowed, that are town roads, that are being plowed, not to be plowed.
Yes, well, I'm saying do both.
But to do that, I mean, you can look into how the process of doing that, because I know when I was frustrated that we couldn't get any of them off.
Well, we should.
I was very frustrated that we couldn't get any of these roads off, and I mean, if you wanna look into that
I
and,
mean, it shouldn't be personal.
no,
you
it
know?
shouldn't be, that's what I'm saying, that's
And
why
so
I'm
if we don't
saying.
have any criteria, it's personal. You know, if we don't have any criteria for a road coming
Exactly.
off or on, we just go on and on and on with something not being fair and equitable. And, you know, every year people will come to us and say, well, this person's road is plowed, but mine isn't. Why, you know, what's the criteria you're using? Just historical?
Yeah, that's what we're using right now, is historical, it was a town road, and we've got the town maps, and that's what,
So it's
That-
grandfathered in.
and
I'm a grandmother now.
the,
That helps.
so it just, you know, it's, that's the issue.
Yeah, no, I
And
agree.
like I said, a lot of the stuff that we try to do, or we should be trying to do, is follow the town plan. And the one thing in the town plan does state that. And-
State
I
what?
think the town plan says more building new roads rather than just maintaining
That
roads
we
that
would not
already exist.
expand or build new roads.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But things degrade or people improve over time, you know, things don't stay the same, so, and, you know, I'd suggest that we at least take a look at it and talk with Lee and, you know,
I like that approach because the door slamming shut, it's been this way always and this is the way it's gonna be. It is not satisfactory, you know, because like you say, things change and people have been here a long time and they've done their share a long time.
Okay. Anybody else got anything to add?
You don't count. My husband offered to teach me to plow, but every time I learned to do something, he left me to do it. So I resisted.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you forward the road one, please?
That's new business.
No, the other one. The other one. We've got a curb cut for Carpenter Road. We tabled it from last week. And he said that it's good to sign now. He's added what he wanted to add to it. So can I get a motion for the curb cut for Carpenter Road, please? If everybody's seen that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the curb cut request for Carpenter Road.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving down. Okay, that's that. How about the reimbursement for Stickney Brook Road project? If we could get a motion to sign that, that's quite a bit of money we'll be receiving back.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we sign the reimbursement request for the Stickney Brook Road project.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, the heat pumps. Lee and I talked to two gentlemen today, and we're gonna get the prices to put the heat pump in. It'll be a Daikin heat pumps. Both of them do the Daikin, and we asked them to give us a full price with electrical work. I noticed that some of the ones that had given estimates last time said that was without, we need to hire an electrician to do it. We told them they need to hire the electrician, so to give us prices with it, so we flip a switch and they work. So they're gonna try to get those prices back to us next Thursday. So what I would like, I think, would be, because if we don't get this done soon, if we don't have them do it soon, we're gonna be into December. They're already into November, the first part of November. So I was thinking if we had a motion to take the lowest bid and, on that comes in next Thursday, that we could, award it so they could put us on their schedule.
So what's the range of price that we're talking about?
Well,
What's the scale?
with the Energy Committee's letter that I got back from Eric, was that at $10,000, he didn't think it was monetarily worth.
Right, no,
doing
I
it.
So
what I was going with that was, he said if we could get it for 30% cheaper than that, he thought it would be with all the other factors and, the comfort in the building and stuff. So I would say that anything over, I'd like to say anything over $6,000, we don't do it, but.
Oh, okay, so
I-
the lowest bid, but with a
Cap.
cap,
And-
that
and
sounds
do we-
reasonable.
Do we wanna we could do a cap of 6,500 or whatever we decide, but I'm thinking this should come in, I'm hoping it's gonna come in right around 42 to 45.
Oh, okay.
But if we feel more, because he said up to 70%, 30% less, so that would be 7,000.
7,000.
He would say it would be,
So it would be worth it then.
right. And I did talk to both the gentlemen, and they get these from the Web, so they're local. They say they've got real good warranties on them. And one of them has done them for the commercial, and he says he would be looking more on the 15 to 20 year life on them, rather than the 10 to 15 where the Energy Committee had thought. He said he was thinking it would be more to the 15 to 20 year lifespan for them. And he's done quite a few for commercial and residential. And I said, so I asked him what he called this, because it's, he goes, it's a commercial, but it's a small, it's almost a residential really, but.
So, I haven't talked to any of the town office staff. Is it our impression that, the people that are in this office, the majority of time, are very eager to
Yes.
have this?
Yes,
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they would be happier with it than without it.
absolutely,
That means a lot to me.
absolutely.
That means a lot to me. So, even if the payback doesn't, work out exactly, the comfort and the contentment of our staff, and the feeling of residents who come in and out of here, and the town road crew and all of that, that's important.
So do
Piece
we,
of the picture.
okay, cause they're all.
In favor of
In favor of it, wanted it earlier this summer actually,
Yeah,
and.
okay, good,
so-
good to know. It also does provide, a level of air conditioning, which is
A lot
pretty
less
sweet.
noisy too.
Pretty sweet, yeah.
Sure, so I'll make a motion, we accept the lowest bid, under 6,500.
Okay,
I'll second that.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Great.
All right, and moving on, correspondence for information. Anybody got anything under there they'd like to talk about? All right, correspondence for discussion and or action. Municipal impact questionnaire for Maple Valley. There, yes. Maria and I, when we were filling out the agenda, went down through there and we just checked off what we thought the answers would be for this.
Oh, good.
And so is there a motion to sign this and to send it back in to them? This is, did everybody see this? Is it?
Let's have a motion so that we can then talk about it. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, if you want to do it that way, so go ahead.
I
Anybody want to
move
say
that we
anything?
sign the municipal impact questionnaire for Maple Valley.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Yeah, so tell us about it.
Oh.
What your impression is.
Well, I mean, I think all it is they're trying to put the, what is it, it's a brewery over there on the site, and they've got their own septic, they've got their own water. This is just asking, do we have, the municipality have the, fire protection for it? That's about the only one we put yes on, because it says police protection, well, that's state police or Wyndham County. Rescue, that's Brattleboro, so that, we don't provide that, it's provided. Road maintenance, that's Route 30, so we don't provide that. And solid waste disposal, that again, they have that themselves. So it's, it's a pretty simple questionnaire. It does say that there was one question that first we were thinking no on, but it is about the Act 250 hearing. And when I talked to Roger, he said, well, you should probably think about saying, that we could do, in case something comes up, we would have a horse in the race
Oh,
with the
yeah.
Act 250. So we changed that to yes.
Yeah, that we would be a part,
Right, we,
Party to.
party to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, I think
So-
that's good.
so that's pretty much what it was. So, any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor of signing that?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, perfect.
I'll have to look at it.
Okay.
Print.
New business, update on Rescue Inc. meeting.
So that was a good meeting last night, very informative. I would really highly recommend, if BCTV was there, they did a wonderful job to look at the videotape, because there's so much information. I mean, it was packed with information, but the takeaways really, they did a pilot program for EMTs as first responders. They were expecting, and this would be free for the people to take it, they were expecting 12 to 20, they got 71 that'll be graduating in
Wow.
January, which is a big thing. There's other pilot programs they're working on with ultrasounds and all that. They have 3 vacant board seats for at all the public, townspeople. So if anybody's interested in joining, get a hold of Rescue Inc. And the big concern, I should say, the takeaway for the night was they're doing for Medicare, getting all the information that they have to provide Medicare into this data. And they've had to go to a 4-day training, I believe it was, to do this correctly. But it's not just rescue, it's a region. So all this data goes in, and hopefully the other region, like another town, puts in theirs correctly. Medicare looks at it, and they will decide in 2021 what the Medicare reimbursement will be. It could stay the same, it could go down, it could go up. Right now it's $600 to go out the door, and they're only getting reimbursed 200 and some odd bucks, so it's very low reimbursement. So if it goes down, it's a short term, in the short term we're gonna have to look at this. In terms of the impact, if it does, so that's the biggest takeaway, but it's like 55 minutes, I think it was, somewhere in there.
And it was at
Really
the new
It was-
building, right? Because every time
Yes.
I've gone, it's been in Brattleboro.
Yeah, no, they had to have it in the new building because they had the EMT class going down there. So, yeah, it was really,
I haven't seen that building yet.
oh, it's beautiful.
Is it?
It really is a nice, it was excellent.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway.
Great.
Good, thanks for the report.
Okay. Cemetery committee appointment request. We had one person want to be on the cemetery committee. That's one that we've had.
Jean.
Right, Jean Newell. It's one that we've had out there, we've been asking for people, and there is no number of people. There's 3 people on it right now, and we could sure use more people, so. We've got Jean Newell that's requested to be on that committee.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Jean Newell to the cemetery committee.
I would second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Terry, you wanna get a hold of her?
Sure.
Thank you.
There, you're welcome.
Shout across the street.
Yeah, that'll be easy.
Okay, Geraldine, it's all about you now.
All right, so I'd like to recess as the select board and convene as the liquor control board. That's a motion.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion.
Hmm.
I don't have a conflict of interest.
Interesting.
Do you need one of these?
Yeah, the new business one. This is for the Scott Farm. Oh, no, is it that green one?
Green.
Right here.
Alright. So the Scott Farm is now, they used to have Whetstone Cider Works come in and, they made the hard cider and they did tasting and stuff. Well, they're no longer doing it. And now the Scott Farm wants to do it themselves. And so what a second class liquor license is, it's like the ones that we do for the,
The campfires.
no,
Circle K.
that Circle K and
Oh,
Sunoco.
okay. To sell it,
It sells it and then people take it away.
Right,
not to drink there.
Right.
Right.
and so, and it runs for a year, I think it's May to April. And, but they're just looking to do it for the autumn season.
And so it's not that they're making cider, it's that they want to sell it in their store.
Is that what I understood?
Because the cider works didn't make the cider there, they brought their
The
cider
cider.
to be
And
sold.
they use the farm's apples, so that's why it worked out good for them. So right, you're
Right, but they're not
Right.
making the cider on site. This is to be able to sell packaged, already created cider at the store. That's
Yeah.
my understanding. Is
Yes.
that correct?
yes.
Are you're
Oh, I
looking?
was thinking they were gonna be making it
I
there.
thought so too. Is there a sentence in that
Customers will
one?
buy bottles of cider they need to take home with them.
You can just read the whole thing.
I'm just looking through it quickly to see if that was it.
Thought it was the sentence before that one.
No, the Senate, they are no longer in business, so, okay. For the last several years, Whetstone Cider Work did hard cider tasting at the farm and also sold their unopened product. They used our apples in their product. So they were a good,
Made it in Marlboro.
yeah, good fit for us. They are no longer in business, so we are looking for other producers. So they're looking for somebody else to produce it for them, who buy our apples, so.
And then they'll do tastings there and then sell the product. But they're looking for other producers who are producing the
Okay.
cider at another location.
Right. So,
And so this is, like you said, like the Sunoco station who sells
And they take it away.
liquor. Yeah, and people take it away.
correct. So, this motion is a second, any other discussion on it? All those in favor of approving?
Oh, I don't think we had a motion.
We haven't had a
Oh.
motion. I'll make a motion to approve the second class
That's right, you.
liquor license
Go
permit
ahead.
application for the Scott Farm.
I'll second that. Thank you, Maria.
All those in now discussion. You made me go into
I'm
discussion last time,
sorry.
and this time you didn't.
I'm sorry, Louis.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we all need to sign this one.
Okay. And so is that all of our business as the liquor control board?
Yes.
Well, then I'd like to make a motion to adjourn as the liquor control board and to reconvene as the select board.
I'll second that.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, any other new business, unfinished business, new business we want to bring up? Okay, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Perfect, can everybody sign this, please?
All those in favor, aye.
Yeah.
So we sign this just.